We're going to talk about another compound tense, or perhaps this is your first compound tense, so I'll just quickly run through a definition of what a compound tense is. Compound tense is a tense that involves two or more verbs. And you may have already worked with the phrasal future, which is a fancy way of saying ir a infinitive. Today we're going to talk about the present progressive, which you may recognize from an English class, but if not, that's totally fine. I hadn't heard of it until I learned it in Spanish class. And what the present progressive is used to do is it expresses actions that are taking place right now. And you're probably wondering, well, isn't that what the present tense is used for? And the present progressive is sort of used to emphasize the fact that those actions are taking place right this very minute. So the present tense, you could say, I study Spanish. That's general. You're not necessarily studying it right now, but you do. The present progressive, you would say, I am studying Spanish, and that would mean that right now, in this minute, you are studying Spanish. Now, in English, we use this tense a little bit more liberally than we do in Spanish. Oftentimes you say, I am going to the park, even if you're not actually going to the park right now. Or, for instance, I am learning Chinese, even if you're not actually physically working with your Chinese textbook at that moment in time. In Spanish, in order to use the present progressive, the action has to be taking place as you are talking about it. This means that it's not used as frequently as it is in English. Now, the way it is formed is with the present tense of estar, and this will be the verb that is conjugated. And to that, you will add what is called a gerund. And you may or may not have heard of gerunds before. Either way, it's totally fine. We're going to talk about what a gerund is and how to form them in Spanish. This is basically the ing form of a verb in English. So you have things like running, sleeping, walking, stuff like that. So the first thing we have to do is figure out how we make that same sort of idea in Spanish. Now there's a pretty easy formula to do this. What you're going to do is you're going to start with your infinitive. You're going to drop the infinitive ending, so minus infinitive ending, and you're going to add one of two things. For AR verbs, you will add ando to the stem, and for ER and IR verbs, you will add yendo. Let's look at some examples because this may seem kind of weird. So we'll start with an AR verb, bailar. We have our infinitive right there. We're going to drop our infinitive ending, so we're left with just our stem. And we're going to add, because it's an AR verb, ando. So we end up with bailando. And this would translate as dancing. Next we'll look at an ER verb, comer. We have our infinitive, drop the infinitive ending, so we're left with our stem. And then we're going to add our gerund ending, yendo. Comiendo, eating. And finally we'll look at an IR verb, escribir. We drop our infinitive ending, are left with our stem, and add yendo, because it's an IR verb. Escribiendo, writing. So, let's just run through our formula once more. We have conjugated form of estar plus our gerund. And this is our helping verb, and this is our main verb or our action verb that's telling you what is actually being done at that moment in time. So let's look at some examples. We'll start off with something easy. Yo, and at this moment in time, I am drinking. Sorry, I should put that in Spanish. The verb is beber. Un vaso de agua. Alright. So, first we have to conjugate our form of estar. For yo, that form is estoy. And then we have our gerund of beber. To form our gerund, we're going to start with our infinitive right here, drop the infinitive ending, and add yendo. So we have bebiendo. Yo estoy bebiendo un vaso de agua. I am drinking a glass of water. Right now, I'm drinking a glass of water. Number 2, Marta. Right now, she is studying for the big test. Marta, studying, test. Alright, so what we have to do is first turn Marta into a subject pronoun. And you probably can guess that will be ella right away. So this is our subject pronoun. We'll just put that in parentheses so we know that the right conjugation of estar is estar. Then we need to take the gerund of our main verb. So we take our infinitive, drop the infinitive ending, and add ando because it's an AR verb. So right up here you see that our whole combined compound tense will be está estudiando, is studying. So if we rewrite the whole sentence, we have Marta está estudiando para el examen. At this moment, Marta is studying for the test. Alright, here's some examples for you to try. Remember, it's estar conjugated plus gerund. Okay, example number 1. Margot y Carlos, and right now they are washing the dishes. And example number 2, nosotros, so we right now are practicing what are we practicing? We're just practicing in general. Okay, so pause the video, figure these out, and resume when you want to see the answers. So up here we have 2 people in our subject, Marco y Carlos, and they will become ellos when we want to simplify things. So our conjugation of estar would be están. Then we take our gerund of the action verb, lavar, and that is lavando, after we drop this and add ando. So our compound tense here is están lavando, and if we write the whole thing out, we have Marco y Carlos están lavando los platos. Right now, Marco and Carlos are washing the dishes. Second example, nosotros practicar. Sorry, that's a total mess up. So what we do, we already have our subject pronoun, which means that our conjugation will be estamos. Nosotros estamos. And then we need the gerund of practicar, which means we drop this and add ando. So we have practicando. Nosotros estamos practicando. We are practicing.